Hey guys, happy Thursday. GameStop announced today after the market closed the pricing details of that $1.3 billion private offering. I want to go over with you a couple of highlights from this very quickly. And we need to talk about this 22% decline on GameStop's price today. I've got a couple thoughts about that as well. Let's get right into it. With today's press release on the pricing of the bonds, we got some new details to talk about, and I just want to say at a very high level what we're going to cover in this video from the press release. You already know that the GameStop bonds are convertible and unsecured. What we're going to focus more on today is explaining how they have a call option feature and how the bonds are also puttable from the bondholders back to GameStop. The sale of these GameStop notes is expected to close, as it says here in the first paragraph, on April 1st, 2025, just a couple days away. And then the bonds mature in 5 years, April 1st, 2030. The bondholders may convert the bonds anytime before January 1st, 2030 at the conversion price of $29.85. which effectively means as long as GameStop is trading below $29.85, that there will not be any conversion or dilution. But once GameStop trades over $29.85, the bondholders could feasibly, potentially convert these bonds into shares of common stock. In reality and practice, what is common is that we don't see conversion happening. Even once the stock starts trading over the conversion price, you should not typically expect conversion to happen until very close to the maturity date. I've gone over the reason for why convertible bonds act like that and why we don't often see early conversions. I've gone over those reasons in previous videos months ago talking about AMC's convertibles, but just know in general, it's not common to expect early conversion. A convertible bond is going to act like a call option, and once the stock price goes over the conversion price here, $29.85, the value of the bonds is going to move up in lockstep with the value of the stock. And so there's no incentive for bondholders to convert and sell those bonds early. Could they sell early? Sure, anything is possible. I'm talking about what is normal, and normally we do not expect early conversion. The other thing that I want to say, because I see a lot of people debating this out on social media, is this is perceived by the market as dilution. It is very likely that these bonds will convert into common shares. And so when you see the price coming down, the market is pricing in this potential dilution to the stock. So don't be surprised that the price comes down when a convertible bond gets announced. The other thing that now you're going to have to contend with in future quarters, and I don't know that anybody has talked about this, is that this potential dilution will now be factored into earnings per share for future quarters. Even though the shares have not converted, there is an accounting rule called diluted earnings per share, and it will take into account the potential dilution of the convertibles, and you'll have your basic earnings per share, and now you'll have to deal with a much lower number called diluted earnings per share, and that will be showing up on future quarterly income statements and all reports from GameStop and analysts when they're talking about earnings per share. For clarity, I should say that will show up on any quarter in which the company reports a profit. If it's a quarter where they have a loss for the quarter, then diluted earnings per share does not get reported. But since GameStop has interest that they're earning, and I expect them to be reporting profitable quarters every quarter this year, you will see diluted earnings per share showing up, and it will be lower than the numbers that you're used to thinking about for earnings per share. When you think about applying a PE ratio to a diluted earnings per share, you can see how Wall Street also would adjust down the price that they're willing to pay for GameStop, because now you're getting less earnings per share. And this is a good time again to remind you guys, anybody talking to you about book value or multiples of book value is completely misleading you about how Wall Street is valuing this stock. this stock, compared to its competitors, is going to be valued on earnings per share, a valuation ratio. Book value is not a valuation ratio, and the people that are pushing that nonsense are misleading you, maybe because they don't know any better, or maybe because it's on purpose. I am not really sure. I said in the beginning of this video that GameStop's bonds have a call function in them, and that is highlighted here in the orange paragraph. This call option gives the company the ability to pay off the bonds early at their discretion if they wanted to. And the nuts and bolts of what it says here is that if the stock trades at least 130% above the conversion price for at least 20 trading days during any 30-day consecutive trading day period, that GameStop has the ability to call the bonds, i.e. pay them off early. And the math on that, we've got $29.85 for the conversion price. 130% of that is $38.80. So if there were some reason where GameStop stock was trading well above $38.80 for 20 trading days, then the company could retire those bonds early. This is just a feature that gives the company some flexibility to retire debt off the balance sheet if they ever wanted to. These bonds also have a put feature embedded in them, and we have the details of that here highlighted in blue. The note holders will have the right to require GameStop to repurchase the notes on April 3rd, 2028 at a repurchase price equal to 100% of the principal amount of the notes. In other words, the bondholders could push these bonds back to GameStop. That's putting them back to the issuer, putting them back to GameStop at any point after April 3rd, 2028. So after 3 years, if the bondholders say, you know what, we don't like this deal anymore, GameStop, we want you to take these bonds back. That is what this blue paragraph is talking about here. And this put option provides some protection and flexibility for the bond purchasers. Both the call function and the put function that we just talked about are very common features in convertible bonds. That is a quick summary of that press release that came out today, Thursday, March 27th, after the market closed. Hopefully, if you were confused about some of this, that helps clear some of it up. If you want to know about the benefits and risks, both to the company and yourself as an investor, about GameStop purchasing Bitcoin with the money that they're raising here, please watch my video yesterday, where I go through both the pros and the cons of this strategic plan that Ryan Cohen is going to be working on very soon here, hopefully buying some Bitcoin. As far as the price action, I'm just going to say this. You must understand how Wall Street is calculating fair value based off of earnings, and you must be able to identify what that fair value price is. If you want to know what that fair value price is, we talk about it all the time in my Discord. YouTube and social media, you're just not ready for it. I'm kidding. I'll do a video on it this weekend. But anything above a fair value calculation, which is not my price target, you kooks out there, fair value price is a mathematical calculation based on expected earnings times a reasonable PE ratio. Anything above a fair price calculation is what we call a speculative price. And we were in speculative price territory over the past week. And then when you get this convertible note being introduced with the dilution that comes along with it, very understandable, very normal that the price gets walked down. If that does not make sense to you, then you are still stuck thinking that the speculative price is a fair price. And, you know, that belief is not going to work well in your favor if you're looking to trade GameStop profitably like we do here on this channel. Buying when it's low, selling when it runs up well above fair value. If you have questions or comments, please drop them for me down below. Love to hear from you guys. I am Tony Denaro, and I will see you on the next video.